Just Robert's the only one.
Is there anyone else that would care to speak this evening? If so, we'd like you to sign in. So, having said that, we can begin. Good evening. This is the public hearing pursuant to Article 30 of the New York State Public Health Law, Section 3008, relative to the application by the City of Lockport to operate an advanced life support first response service at paramedic level within the City of Lockport by the conversion of the City of Lockport's 2016 Municipal Declaration of Need to a permanent operating authority for such ALSFR service. My name is Mark Butler, and I am the hearing officer this evening. Among other responsibilities, I am charged with moderating the hearing and assuring that the hearing process follows generally accepted procedures. The hearing is now called to order, and the time is 6:04 p.m. The sole item on the agenda this evening is the application of the City of Lockport to operate an ALS first response service with the intent of this application to convert the City of Lockport's 2016 Municipal Declaration of Need to a permanent operating authority for that ALS first response service. The purpose of this hearing is to provide a technical review and objective evaluation of the applicant's statement of need, as well as any other testimony required. I have a couple of preliminary matters. First, I will ask the chair of the CON committee, Mr. Sean Downing, to step forward. Please state your name and address for the record.
Sean Downing.
Your address, sir?
It is, should I use the Big Lakes office?
That would be fine.
It would be
75.
75 East Main Street, Batavia, New York, 14020.
It's good enough for our purposes. Thank you, Mr. Downing. First, I have a series of matters to dispose of with you with your good assistance. Did the Big Lakes Regional EMS Council establish a date, time, and location for a public hearing to review the application and receive all comments?
Yes, they did.
Do you have a copy of the notice of hearing reflecting the date, time, and location established by the Regional Council for the record tonight?
Yes, I do.
I have received what has been previously marked as Exhibit 1, and I will accept that as part of the record. Thank you. Second, I'll ask Mr. Downing whether the notice of this hearing has been made consistent with the Department of Health requirements, namely that the notice of hearing was published in one or more newspapers having a general circulation within the proposed service coverage area, and were such publications done at least 14 days prior to this hearing?
Yes, it was.
Mr. Downing, is there an affidavit of publication of the notice of hearing for the record?
Yes, there is.
May I have the document, please? Thank you. I am in receipt of a document which has been previously marked as Exhibit 2, that being the affidavit of Janet M. Slipko, S-L-I-P-K-O, of the Lockport Union Sun and Journal, which is sworn to December 28, 2018. I will accept that as part of the record of this proceeding. Next, I'll ask Mr. Downing whether such notice of hearing was sent in accordance with Public Health Law Section 3008 by certified or registered mail, return receipt requested to everyone that is required to be put on notice of this hearing, consistent with the Department of Health requirements. Has that been made, and have those people been placed on notice?
Yes, they were.
Mr. Downing, is there an affidavit of service indicating such notice was made by certified mail, return receipt requested?
Yes, there was.
Thank you. And I am in receipt of a document which has been marked previously as Exhibit 3, being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages. It is the affidavit of Sean T. Downing, sworn to January 22, 2019. I will accept this as part of the record as Exhibit 3. Finally, Mr. Downing, do you have an original copy of the application submitted to the Regional Council for submission for the record?
Yes, I do.
I am in receipt of a loose leaf binder which has been previously marked as Exhibit 4, entitled City of Lockport Fire Department Certificate of Need Application. I will accept this as Exhibit 4 for the record. Thank you, Mr. Downing. Mr. Downing, has this application been deemed complete by the Regional Council?
Yes, it has.
And on what date did the Regional Council deem the application complete?
It was November.
Is there a document, Mr. Downing, that would refresh your recollection?
I have one, it's just not on me at this time.
Okay.
It was
In November of
It was
2018?
November of 2018.
Thank you. Mr. Downing, have there been any statements received in support of the application other than those contained in the application?
No, sir.
Have there been any other statements received, including any statements against the application?
No, sir.
So there have been no statements whatsoever opposing this application to the best of your knowledge?
Not other than what's in there.
Thank you. Let me be clear. Have there been any statements in opposition?
No, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Downing, the last item I'll ask you for is, do you have a copy of the current ALS First Response Certificate for the City of Lockport for the record?
Sir?
And I'm in receipt of what's been marked previously as Exhibit 5, being a one-page photocopy of a New York State Department of Health Emergency Medical Services Certificate, agency code 0381, certificate number 33964, indicating that the City of Lockport is certified as an advanced life support first response agency in accordance with Article 30 of the Public Health Law, and I will accept that as part of the record as Exhibit 5. Mr. Downing, thank you.
Thank you.
Now that I have these various documents and exhibits before me, the order of the meeting tonight is the applicant will have an opportunity to present its application to the public with any amendments to the application, followed by anyone else who has anything to say or who cares to comment or ask questions will be invited to do so. And then any position statements that we've received in writing so far will be put into the record. Mr. Downing, are you the sole member of the CON committee that's present this evening?
Yes, I am.
Thank you. The CON committee, which is the Certificate of Need Committee, which has oversight and review authority under the Public Health Law and New York State Department of Health Bureau of EMS Policy Statement 06-06. The committee is empowered and has the authority to ask questions this evening of any witnesses and others making statements before the hearing officer. There has been a sign-up list for those wishing to speak, and as I asked previously, is there anyone else that cares to speak? In order to speak this evening, I need to have your name on this document. Anyone else care to speak this evening? I will make a last call at the conclusion of all of the testimony this evening. I will ask Robert Haley to step forward, please. And will the stenographer please swear the first witness? Would you state your name and position with your employer for the record, please?
Robert A. Haley, Captain, City of Lockport.
Good evening, Captain Haley. I have in front of me the City of Lockport's exhibit number 4 for tonight's hearing. Is this a complete and accurate copy of the application?
It is.
Do you wish to amend this document in any fashion this evening? Do you have anything that you'd like to add or make a statement in support of the application?
I do have a statement.
You may proceed. Thank you.
Over the last 100 years, the City of Lockport Fire Department has tried to provide the highest level of fire and EMS care possible to the citizens and visitors of the City of Lockport. In keeping with that standard, the Fire Department began state-level EMT basic life support care in 1974 and began a paid ambulance service in 1978.
Captain Haley, I'm going to interrupt you. My best friend in this room right now is the court reporter.
Yes.
Would you slow your speech down just a little bit so I keep her as my best friend?
I've been told that before.
Thank you.
Absolutely. In 1984, the fire department became one of the first fire departments in the state to offer advanced life support ambulance service. In 1999, the department began advanced life support paramedic level care and transport on their ambulances. In 2014, due to financial constraints beyond the control of the fire department administration, a unilateral decision was made to have the fire department stop providing the transport ambulance service. At that time, the city administration entered into an agreement with Twin City Ambulance Corps to provide ambulance service to the city of Lockport and discontinue the fire department's ambulance service. Unbeknownst to the city administration, the fire department inadvertently surrendered its Department of Health operating certificate and agency code to operate as an emergency medical service provider. Essentially, what that means is the fire department wasn't recognized by the New York State Department of Health as an agency that could perform any type of medical care. No first aid, no oxygen, no defibrillators. Even though the fire department wasn't recognized by the state as an EMS provider, the department never stopped responding to 911 EMS requests. This was in order to assist Twin City Ambulance with whatever was needed to facilitate the best possible patient outcomes. In 2015, the city requested a new agency code and operating certificate to begin basic life support care and began the process of obtaining a new operating certificate for paramedic level care. The steps taken to begin operating at the paramedic level has brought us to this hearing, which in part is a process in which obtaining an operating certificate of need as an advanced life support first response agency. In order to be granted a certificate, the fire department must show that a need exists for the service. The Department of Health defines public need as the demonstrated absence, reduced availability, or inadequate level of care in ambulance or emergency medical service available to a geographical area which is not readily correctable through reallocation or improvements of existing services. Although Twin City Ambulance has provided the city of Lockport with excellent emergency medical care over the last few years, like all emergency services, the amount of resources that Twin City can provide has its limits. Twin City's headquarters is located in Amherst, New York, and due to its contractual obligations to multiple geographical areas in western New York, there has been occasions when they've had to respond in ambulance to the city of Lockport from outside of Niagara County, and sometimes only have a basic life support ambulance immediately available. This can cause a delay in advanced level care to our citizens when minutes may mean life or death. In the unfortunate event of a mass casualty incident, multiple calls in succession, or when this ambulance service is transporting patients to hospitals that are outside of the local service area, it was determined by the City of Lockport administration that the citizens of our city would greatly benefit from an additional advanced life support agency to further supplement those services that Twin City provides. Since there is no other dedicated advanced life support paramedic service within a 10-mile radius of the City of Lockport, and it is unrealistic to expect Twin City to dedicate an unlimited number of paramedics and properly equipped ALS ambulances to our city, The Common Council has determined that there is a public need for the City of Lockport Fire Department to provide paramedic level care and service to those people residing, working in, or visiting as tourists in the City of Lockport. Therefore, on October 19, 2016, the City of Lockport Common Council unanimously passed a resolution ordering the City Fire Department to begin the process of obtaining permission to provide advanced life support to first responders from its fire apparatus within the City of Lockport. In January 2017, the New York State Department of Health, with the full support of the Western Regional Emergency Medical Advisory Committee, granted the City of Lockport with a temporary municipal certificate of need to operate at the advanced life support first responders level. Since the approval from the State Department of Health to operate at the ALS-FR level, the Lockport Fire Department has performed numerous advanced life support workups. From January 1st, 2018 to today, the Fire Department has had almost 100 calls requiring advanced life support procedures or workups performed by the Fire Department. Some of those workups include circumstances where LFD paramedics accompany the patient to the hospital on Twin Cities BLS ambulance or on one of their paramedic level ambulances to assist with patient care, thus proving a public need for the service. The City of Lockport operates a paid staff of 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. The department is currently budgeted for 38 firefighters, all of whom are trained at least at the basic EMT level. It has 22 of these employees are already advanced life support paramedics. With this large cadre of fire department personnel already well trained, experienced, and available EMS providers to further supplement Twin Cities service, this puts no burden on the municipality or its citizens to bear the cost of training for this program. The department operates 2 frontline engines. Those 2 engines are in service with a full complement of advanced life support equipment, and now the department supports a 3rd engine in reserve that is fully equipped with ALS equipment and can be placed in service when a need arises. The vast majority of this medical equipment was already on site and left over from when the fire department operated their 2 paramedic level ambulances, thus incurring almost no ALS equipment startup costs. Under the requirements of being an ALS-FR agency, the Lockport Fire Department will not be allowed to engage in any ambulance transport service or billing for ALS services provided by its employees. The city financiers determined that there will be no negative impact to the taxpayers of the City of Lockport for the Fire Department's ALS program. Since the Fire Department will not be transporting patients, Twin City will continue to provide all transport and bill appropriately, thus having no negative financial impact to Twin City ambulance. In closing, it is important to remember that there has been a noticeable shortage of trained and certified ALS providers, not only across Western New York, but also here in Niagara County. This shortage of ALS providers, combined with the ever-increasing volume of requests for this kind of advanced level care, can sometimes make it difficult to provide this advanced level care to all those who may be in need in our community. With this being said, having an additional paramedic service will only benefit the citizens and visitors of the City of Lockport. In the last year and a half, the Lockport Fire Department has had more than 1,000 patient encounters with no patient care complaints, and has received a number of compliments from the community and other healthcare providers on the ALS service that we have been providing.
Thank you, Captain Haley.
Sure.
If you would, for just a moment, I have a couple of questions
Yep.
for you. And let Rebecca's fingers cool off there. In your statement, you indicated that since, and correct me if I'm wrong in the date, since January 1st of 2018, that the Lockport City Fire Department, under its temporary municipal certificate of need, provided over 100 ALS interventions directly. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Mr. Downing, as the CON committee's representative, do you have any questions for the applicant?
No, I do not.
Captain Haley, thank you very much. We appreciate your statement this evening. Is there anyone that would care to make any statement for or against the application or otherwise? Just like at last call, this is last call for anyone that cares to make a statement before this hearing officer. That being the case, and that there are no other comments or anyone else that wishes to offer any testimony either for or against the application, nor anyone that seeks to ask questions of the applicant. I hereby close this hearing. The time is now 6:22 p.m. Off the record,